I know you've been talking about how crew is treated on set and what the crew will just expect to have to take, right? Like,
Sure.
we've all been conditioned in our own ways of like, like I edit a lot. I mean, I am on set. Obviously, I make films, but I'm hired
Mhm.
more as an editor, and I'm used to like, oh, I just need this one change, and it only take you 2 minutes. Like, yeah, but then I got to export the whole. All right, I'll take it. I'll do it. And you get sucked into like suddenly this job you had a set fee for that was supposed to be this big is now this big, right? So
Mhm.
I understand that everybody's pushed to the brink in a lot of ways because money's tight. But I thought you could talk about crew on set and what you've been discussing and hoping to change.
Yeah, it's been a big thing for me the last, I guess now a year and a half. So I've been working on set for about 10 years now. And I started out just like a kid and very much in love with every stage of the process. I'll do anything to make this project happen. I'm a giver and I'm a hard worker, and like that's what I do. But 10 years down the road, I found myself physically, mentally, emotionally exhausted because I'd been doing that on every single project while trying to make a living. And so, if I don't have enough to pay rent, I got to pick up another job. And then when I'm on set, I'm going to give everything I have, 100% all the time. And that is not a way to live. And so I was on a big TV show at the beginning of 2021, and 4 months, it's like 16-hour days, climbing up hills with cameras on my shoulder, just like really exhausting work. And at the end of those 4 months, I said, if this is making it, I don't want to make it. So from there it was, well, what does that mean? And luckily I had a chance to produce and DP a feature in Pittsburgh that summer. And while working on that, it's an indie movie called Two Lives in Pittsburgh. And we had a little budget, and we let all of our crew know, hey, you're not going to get the best rates, but we're going to make sure that you're treated right, and we're gonna put you up in living situations that are comfortable, and we're gonna make sure we're not working at least over not working over 12, but ideally not working over 10. Our first week ended up being 8-hour days and then increased from there, but it was such an enjoyable experience, and it made me realize that we don't it's not hard to treat your crew well. You just have to think about it and, have the forethought to say, no, we're not going to work 12-hour days, but we're going to be more efficient with our 10-hour days because our crew's going to be happier and more rested. And they're going to trust us and come up with better creative ideas. And, it makes that process a lot more enjoyable when everyone wants to be on set. So that's kind of been my transition over the last year and a half is I don't want to be on set unless I know my crew is treated right. So it's been an interesting shift, but I do think that this is a time where the industry needs to wake up and realize that you can throw money at problems all day long, but that doesn't fix the fact that crews are exhausted, and it's not sustainable.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything you're saying. It's yeah, it's very interesting because I was hired on to direct a film a couple of years before the pandemic called Sugar, a few years before, I think like 4
Mhm.
years before that. And it was my first time being on a feature where I wasn't the producer on it, right? Where I wasn't also
Mhm.
self-producing or partially producing or whatever it is we all do. And I
Right.
saw the way the crew was treated by the producers, and I'm not somebody who works in Hollywood. It's not something that I wouldn't do, but I just don't pursue that. It's not like
Mhm.
I don't want whatever. And I mean it in a bad way. I just mean like I just don't do that. I'm very much in the indie film world. And so I had never experienced that treatment because when it's been my set, I've never, most of my films, I never had more than a 12-hour day. I had one 14-hour day, and the crew got extra pay, another meal, and booze at the end of the shift because it was the sixth
There
day,
you go.
which is the other thing
Right.
that people don't know. People work 6 days. They don't work 5 on a set.
Mhm.
At least on an indie set, it's a 6-day week.
Right.
But this produced the way they were treating the crew, and I yelled at one of the producers. I just like had it, and I yelled, and I had a crew member come over to me. He was pretty high up on the crew chain. I don't want to say who because I know this will come back
Sure.
around to haunt him some way, but said to me, I have never had a director stand up for the crew. And this was somebody who, like, yeah, he's not like a Hollywood bigwig, but he's a union guy. Like, he's been working, right? And I
Sure.
was like, what are you talking? Like, what? And then I realized,
Yeah,
well,
I just got chills.
directors like hang on to their producers because that's how they keep getting
Yeah.
hired. So whatever the producer says, but like I just couldn't
Come
take it.
on.
I just couldn't. I'm like, come on, this is a little
Yeah.
film too. This is an indie film. Like, it's nobody's getting paid well. I know I'm not. I took a total bath on the film in a lot of ways. I'm not saying I didn't get paid at all, but it's certainly like, again, the amount of hours when you add it all up, and I edited the project as well. It's like not that much money. So it's like, even I get what you're saying when you're on a TV show, they throw money at
Mhm.
it. And I always look
Right.
at TV shows, I'm like, you have so much money. Right. So, and I've heard of people working those 16-hour days. I know some union camera people, and it's like, I don't get
Yeah.
it though. Why don't they just have a longer shoot and do 8-hour days or 10-hour days and split the difference or something?
Right.
Like, why do they're throwing money at it anyway, paying you extra money to be on set for 16 hours? Why not? I don't know. Here's a thought. I get you have to have the
Yeah.
studio longer and there's scheduling, but come on, come on. So I'm right there with you. It can be done. And it just seems
Mhm.
like it's such a quote privilege to get to work in the industry. And it's not. It's a skill, it's an effort. You're talented. That's why you're working there. It's just like being a business person. You've worked your way up. So you still
Mhm.
it just seems to be that people feel like, well, you're lucky you even get to do this. It's like, no, you're lucky to have me. Well, I
Right.
was gonna
Yeah,
say that.
there's definitely a mindset within crew members, especially like um you have to do everything you possibly can in your power for this job because you might not get the next job if you don't, you know. It's that fear of, but what if I don't get on the next job because I don't, carry the 70-pound camera up the mountain when there's no water in the cooler. Like, I'd rather not like fall down a mountain and die. When I was 18, yeah, I probably would have done it. But I know myself now and I know my body and I could feel myself dehydrating and like just, crumbling over the exhaustion of the week, and said, if I go up that hill with this mountain, I don't know that I'm coming back down.
Well, you'll be
So,
coming back down, but maybe not the way you want to be.
right.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on and sharing and caring. And that's what it's all about.